What I kind of want to talk about, though, is what you didn't hear a lot about today was direct mail campaigns, conventional advertising, printed sales materials like brochures, offline client surveys and things like that, conventional advertising and marketing. And there's a reason we didn't talk about that a lot, and that's because that stuff is still effective, but its cost per lead, as Mark said, is much higher than what you can do online. It doesn't mean we recommend you don't do it. In fact, we can help you with that too. But what we do recommend is that you have a website, you manage your website, you make sure a website is optimized for sales and lead generation, and then you take that and you make that the core of your marketing efforts. Because the website is the only employee you'll ever have that will absolutely never lie to you, will never lay down on the job, will always be 100% honest with you. It's the only focus group that won't lie to you. You can put 10 people in a room and go, what do you think of this product? They'll usually, unless they're people like, I'll tell you, I don't like it, it sucks, right? But most people will tend to be a little bit kinder just because they know they're being asked about something. When you put a website online and you want to know, do people prefer, I don't know, green or pink? Right? And we both have our opinions, but the website will tell you. It'll tell you in 24 hours. 24 hours and $100 in Google AdSense, and you will know exactly which your market prefers with 100% honesty. That's what a website will do for you. Now, when you do these conventional advertising methods and you make sure you have your website printed on all of them, what's a good idea, and we kind of did this thing on short notice, normally we would print up brochures just for this. We'd have an extension so we know exactly where all of those responses come from and exactly where people go and exactly how people respond to them. So if you run an ad in Yellow Pages, you run an ad in the paper, you run an ad on the radio, you send people to a specific point, not just to your homepage. That way everybody that came in through that entranceway, you know everything they did. So you even are able to take these offline methods and get better tracking, because the one thing just drives me crazy as a company owner is to spend marketing dollars and then have people say, well, see, it works, we have more business. But where did it come from? How much is it attributable to this? I just spent $250,000 last year in advertising. Did I get most of my return on $50,000 of that? If I did, please tell me so I can take my $200 and put it with that 50. And I don't care if it's $250,000 or it's $250. I want to know where my money went and what did it bring back to me. And the internet can tell me that, because the internet will track everything you do. I don't think Mark probably got a chance to go to Search Engine Watch this morning, but there's a story on there today. Google bought a company last year called DoubleClick. DoubleClick is one of those companies that knows a lot more about you than you probably want them to if you spend any time online. They track everything you do. Mark was talking about how in your pay-per-click marketing, you can say, I only want to display this ad to people that are in these 3 zip codes. They're rolling out now demographic targeting. I only want to display my ad to people that live in these 3 zip codes that make more than $50,000 a year. You will never do that with the Yellow Pages. You will never get that return. I only want to display my advertisement to people that live in this zip code that make over $50,000 that are male, and I want to display it at work because I know that's when my best conversions are, so only run my ad from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Nothing else will do that for you. And you can take these things one step at a time. What I kind of want to sum everything up with, though, is this is a very holistic process. And I hate overused buzzwords. And I hate things that are like, yeah, but this really is. Everything that you heard today all goes back to mostly what Mark taught to you about with search. Every time you set up a profile in a social media network, every time you do a press release, you're building your internet presence. You're putting out more and more and more material about your company, about what you do. More ways for people to find you, and you're pushing links back to your site. You're pushing your rank with those links. There's a reason that we linked in the release about Trump University with the word marketing services to that page. Not just because the person that clicked on that ended up there in the right place, but that's the term we were trying to rank that page higher for. You don't work on your optimization just from a site level. Every page on your site is like a soldier, like a special operations soldier that has a specific mission. This page is supposed to rank for this list of terms, and I optimize that page for that. And then when I go and I set up my profile on LinkedIn, I'll push links to my profile on LinkedIn. I'll try to rank that for things. And as this whole process builds in time, what happens is you build a very, very powerful internet portfolio. And that's why if you came to me today and said, I want to rank #1 for construction, and that's the term you want, and you want to be #1 for that, I wouldn't turn you down, but I'd say, what kind of budget you got? Or mortgage. We'll do it eventually. But it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of effort, because the people that are there now figured this out in '98. And it's not just what needs to be done, it's 10 years of doing it the right way. And they've solidified themselves. But what, like Mark told you about with local search, the big guys aren't doing that today. There's, Joe's Pizza is outranking Pizza Hut in local search, because Pizza Hut won't put a guy on it and say, set up all our locations for this. So it's a David and Goliath thing. So the same opportunity today exists in the local search market to go in there and infiltrate it and entrench yourself and own those areas. So that's kind of what's available today that really hasn't ever been available since kind of the dawn of the internet. And the good news is the information on how to do this stuff is out there. I started doing this stuff in the mid-90s, and I was a national sales manager, and I was screaming to the companies I was working for back then, we need to be on the internet. This is the way of the future. And big companies weren't doing it yet. And I had 30, 40 people working for me at any one time. And if they sold, they made money. And if they didn't sell, they didn't. And if they sold, I made a lot more money. So it was kind of in my best interest. So I taught myself to a large degree how to do these things back in the 90s. And there wasn't anybody that could come talk like this to me and tell me how to do it. There were no courses. There were no websites about how to do it. You kind of all had to figure it out. What we've shown you today has taken us a decade collectively to develop. And it's a very small piece of what's available. So I encourage you to, whether you work with us, whether you work with somebody else, or whether you do it on your own, really grab onto the opportunity that's out there today, because I don't care what business you're in, the internet can drive more sales for you and make you more successful. Thank you.